right. Always have to make sure that that little ticker is ticking. So, hi, this is Robin the Generous Stitcher, and I have 18 minutes before my spouse walks in the door and starts making noise. So I'm going to whip through some stuff here. No pun intended with the whips. So we have the fully finished grapes piece with glass and a either you can set it up or you can hang it from your wall with a frame. And so this is going to be raffled off at the Acorns and Threads beach retreat. And I am bringing some note cards, so if people at the beach retreat want to take this home, it's not no cost, it's not for charity, it's just please take it off my hands and give it a good loving home. And so and it's 30 years in the making, because Tammy Wheel of Woodland Stitching Studio started it, and then Robin the Generous Stitcher, myself, I finished it, and then she and I collaborated to finish it. And anyway, I am so glad this is done. It's so pretty. But, you know, I never intended on keeping this. I always wanted to find a good home for it. So anyway, that's going to the beach with me. All right. So, curated cross-stitch collection. And I had thought about getting this one, which is Heartstring Samplery, and it's an ode to libraries, because my spouse is a librarian and works for a city library, and so I could make this for him, or I could make this for his one of his bosses, or just the library that they could hang in their library. So anyway, I'm trying to hide that a bit. And then I was in the shop stitching for third Saturday stitching free stitch. And my shop is Acorns and Threads. That's my local needle shop in the Raleigh Hills area of Southwest Portland, right on the border with Beaverton, Oregon. And so there is a new Mirabilia pattern coming out called the Madam Mermaid, I believe it's called, and I love the mermaids they've done. I'm not so big on some of the fancy ladies, but the mermaid is number 2 in a series. This is the Empress, and come on, if I move my head. Anyway, it's pretty amazing, and it's purple. I love her rose petal hair. Yeah, that's one of the parts I like best about the piece. But I was like, well, if I really like the mermaid, maybe I should do the whole series. So Mirabilias are far in my future. They're not something I'm going to be working on anytime soon. So that was the only 2 things that I got. I mean, yeah, I did get some more pairs of scissors, because Max, you know, loves his scissors and he loves to steal them and carry them off. And fortunately, I've been able to stop him and or find them. And so anyway, what I'm planning to do is videotape this, show some current whips, and then I hope to finish a piece that I will show at the end of this video. And I'm going to take my phone, obviously, to Cannon Beach, to the beach retreat, and take some pictures to add into the video about the beach retreat and how it, yeah, just what happened and having fun. And so I'm not quite to the end of the month. I've stitched at least 20 days this month, and it's only the 22nd, and I've got at least 3 more dedicated stitching days that I know about, and I hope to stitch yeah, I hope to stitch tonight and tomorrow. and, and then after the beach retreat, I still have 3 more days before it's May. And I'm going to go to a small retreat at Cynthia's of Bend, which is a quilting sewing machine shop that has a classroom, and Beth Twist is from Heartstring Samplery is going to be there teaching. And so it just looked like a good reason to check out Cynthia's of Bend. I've wanted to see that place. And the Salem area Stitchers, we talked about maybe renting a retreat space at some point. What we have been doing is having our retreats at people's houses on Saturdays, and that's worked out really well. But, you know, there might come a time where we say, okay, we have a lot of people and we're going to go take a road trip. So anyway, so I'm not going to say, you know, my stats for the month yet. And so I have been stitching on. I finally finished the border. Okay, and it goes this way. So this is Winter's Blessing or Winter Blessing. It's a Plum Street sampler, and oops. And sorry, it's falling off the table. And this is stitched on 28 count. It's a Lugana from Atomic Ranch called Vapors. Now, I've seen Vapors, and I don't know if this was on linen or if it was just another dye lot, but I've seen Vapors with a lot darker gray modeling. This is really, and it could be that it just is different because this is Lugana, but this, it's really hard to see. I mean, maybe you're seeing it on the camera, maybe that's more shadowing, and the fact that I haven't ironed this and I have a thread around, but this is really fairly white. And so the pattern itself, and you can see this, it has these little sort of kind of like these little crosses, and then it's got these like letter I figures. And so this was originally stitched on Salt Bush from Fox and Rabbit, and might have been on a smaller count too, or a larger count. And so on Salt Bush, that is a really, you know, sort of beige, sand-colored neutral. And since I had this in my stash and I was like, okay, it's wintry, I'm going to do it on this, it basically made the eyes pop out without stitching them. So I'm not going to stitch the ivory in these eyes because I just feel like they make a statement on their own. There is, in this figure, let me grab out the oops, yeah. So, you know, there is snow, and I will be stitching B5200 for the snow, and you can see, sort of, you can see there are snowflakes, and so I am starting to stitch, and at the very top, let me see, yeah, at the very top you can see that I've got some, that I've started to stitch the snowflakes, and it's not popping out so much on this Vapors as it would on the Salt Bush, but it's okay. I mean, it's obviously going to be a winter piece, and there's like red birds and red flowers, and there's kind of a skinny reindeer, and then this female figure here. And the ivory that would have made these eye motifs is also in her dress with reds. So you'll get some of that ivory, and I think it's called eggshell. Yeah, it's Classic Colorworks eggshell. So you'll get some of this in it when I finish it. So I've it took me the longest time to do the border. I was sort of doing it every so often if I had some time that I didn't have another piece that I needed to work on. And I finally just kind of like did the border to get it done. And then it's like, well, you know, this is a small that I could finish by next month in May, and then I'd have one more project bag that I could empty, because this is something in the pattern. It shows it's finished as a pillow, and that's what I'm going to do here. And so, reaching for the other whip. So I've mentioned this, I think, my last video or two, that, uh-oh, gotta hide that under my foot. It's a scissor, it fell on the floor. Max and Willow are sleeping on the bed, so they're chilling, and hopefully they're gonna continue to chill. So this is a gathering of acorns, which is the fall piece. Fox and Rabbit, this was an exclusive for Acorns and Threads mini retreat, gathering of nuts in 2024. And this reddish color of the brick is Campfire. I think that's Classic Colorworks, or is it Classic Colorworks, or, yep, Campfire. And so, let's see, I had the, aha, here it is. Okay, so this is what the pattern looked like when I got it. This particular piece has been re-released as a Nashville release for 2025. And what I've been told is Fox and Rabbit are going to do like 4 different fall series, the same pattern, just with different fall motifs. What's funny is the inside this packet that we got as an exclusive, it called it Gathering of Roses. So that may be what they originally were going to do, or maybe they have a Gathering of Roses for like a summer or spring, probably summer, for this, but I don't know. But I'd want to do the Gathering of Roses because I really like roses. So anyway, so still working on the houses. I did make a small mistake, and that is the window over the door is not as wide as the windows around that should have been over the door, but I miscounted when I was doing this part of the brick. And so I just decided that the window and over the door was going to be like, I've seen this in real houses, on TV and in houses I've been to, where they have a 2-story entryway, and then sometimes you have windows that shine light down. Sometimes you have a big chandelier that goes down a story or more, so to light up the entryway. So I figured, let's just pretend that there is a grand stairwell, that you walk in this door into this grand atrium entryway, and there's a big stairwell and and then the light from this narrow window. And I realized I forgot to put a second, or a third, I guess it would be the third crossbar of the windowsill here. But then I thought, hey, that looks really distinctive, especially if I'm imagining that there's a grand atrium and it's going to be light filled in this cross-stitch house that I'm building. This is one that I'm going to keep because it was the first time that I went to a gathering of nuts. So it has a lot of sentimental value for me. So I don't want to give it away. And still no cats, and I'm trying to speak. Ooh, Mark's going to be here anytime. So let's see. All right, I haven't got too far on Lindy Stitch's Japanese Bantam, which is this airmail from October of 2024. And so this is a gift from my great niece, and she likes chickens, and so so far I've got half of the border, and I've not quite finished with the 49 cent, but I realized I miscounted in here, so I think I have to frog like about 3 stitches, and I've really been, if I'm going to fold this correctly, I've really been spending time on my pinwhist for the Smalls Exchange. So this has kind of fallen by the wayside, as have a lot of other things. The Acorn Gathering piece has not fallen by the wayside, because whenever my husband wants me to watch TV instead of stitch, I just take it to the chair, and it's simple enough with those blocks. I can do it while I watch TV. So I stick this onto there. I'm not going to show you that piece yet. I want to show it to you when it's done. Oh, I guess I need to put this back in. And this, it's important to have the pattern with the fabric and the floss if you want to get it done. And so I'm planning 2 other pieces, and I can't remember, I think I might have shown you this piece last time. This is from Ardith Design. It was a Nashville release in 23, and it is sort of a creepy zombie flamingo. I have a friend who lived in Florida for a long time. She loves flamingos. And at the time, I picked up, this is like Gentle Arts Sampler Threads. It's a limited edition habanero. And I thought that would be great for doing these pumpkins. And I also picked up, key lime is one of the new releases for this year's Nashville. So I kind of picked up different sampler threads that at the time I picked up 2 of the habanero, because I knew I wanted to stitch this flamingo, but then there'd probably be other things I'd want to use that for. And then there's a lighter orange on that pattern, and this is more of a coral. This is also a limited edition from 2023 Nashville release. And there was also that year a limited edition, and this is sort of a grape wine colored purple. And I thought, hey, there's purple in this pattern. And so I was just going to do substitutions. And then there are like green zombie hands, and so I'm like, hey, I can use this new key lime for that. And there's also like lighter green. So I decided that pepperoncini from Weeks Dye Works might work for that. This is all charted with DMCs, so they're really easy to find. But I decided that I would just use, I've also got a couple other purples here. I have Classic Colorworks Purple Pansy, which I had to get. Love pansies. And love purple too. And this is another limited edition. And I forget if this was this year or another year. Maybe this year for Nashville release. So I just decided to personalize this by doing, I did kit up all my DMCs, but I just decided that when I do this, I'm going to personalize it with all these specialty threads. And I apologize if you saw it last time and this is kind of a repeat, but now that I've got more of the materials all together, I'm going to be starting this week, probably Friday at the beach retreat. Get all this stuff in here. Listening for a car on the street. So, and then, yes, and I did show you the Medusa's Gauge fabric last time. So, all right, and then the other piece that I am that I'm planning. Oh, and then the other thing is that it takes a silver, like a brand of It's kind of like Krynic, which this is Krynic. It's a silver thread that you put lengthwise on the flamingo legs that are like the showing parts of the bones. So, all right, and then finally I'm going to show you one more thing I'm planning and then cut it short. And that is, I'm doing two tea towels. Since Charles Craft is really short, you know, he's really short in this height. And so the flowers that I have in this book barely fit. They just barely fit. I mean, and I try to start in the middle and work my way out because of the limited space. But so the bride is from Oregon, so I'll put a picture in on what those Oregon flowers look like when I've stitched them on the towels. And the groom is from Pennsylvania. And so when I started this in January because they got married on Christmas Eve. And so I had gotten, if I can find it here, yeah, I'd gotten a couple pictures that are a white variety of this mountain laurel, which is the state flower for Pennsylvania and a few other states. It's a common small shrub with these amazing flowers. And so it's a state flower for, I think, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, a couple other places. And so I was kind of thinking, well, are they just white in the wild, or are they, because there's other, the pattern in my book, it's all pink and like intensive pink. And so I thought, and I started stitching the white, and it was like, Blanc is not going to cut it because it's a white towel. And I thought, well, maybe a B5200 will cut it because it's more of a brighter white. But then I decided, hey, let's get some different pictures. And I listened to a video from like the Ohio State Extension Service, and we have Oregon State has university has an extension service, and they're amazing. So I figured Ohio's has got to be just as good. And so they were talking about that in nature these are actually can be white to pink, or maybe a little bit more pink. And then he also mentioned sort of intense, deep maroon pink color in the center of these flowers in some cases. So I don't know if this is a domesticated variety, because there are domesticated varieties of this plant, and they're popular in people's yards. And but these leaves are toxic, so be careful if you got kids or pets. But anyway, I figured if I did something that was more like this or this, and maybe not quite so uniformly pink, because you can see in this white picture, you can actually see there's quite a bit of detail, and I could even do some back stitching in white. But the center of those flowers can be really bright and distinctive. So that gives me a lot of ways to rechart and work with some of the pattern details in this Leisure Arts State Flower Borders, which is really, I mean, I'm going to use this till it falls apart. This is from 1991. And I did notice that some of the Leisure Arts things that were in the cardstock actually had been printed in the 80s and then reprinted later. So there was a pattern I used for a bib that I discovered, or no, it was fingertip towels for all the seasons. And I bought that in like 2000 something. And then I saw the original on eBay from like 1985. So, but anyway, yeah, so I've pulled a bunch of DMCs that match the pattern, and before I leave for the beach trip, because I'm taking this to the beach to work on it, because I really want to get one of the towels done before I go home, or at least really close to one of the towels done. It's gonna be nice and rainy and gray at the beach, and I'm gonna spend my time sitting maybe near a window looking at the ocean and stitching like for hours upon hours. So that's like the best beach trip ever. And then you get up occasionally to eat seafood. So that was the plan I talked about last time in my last video about what I was taking to the beach. And I did talk about taking Purple Pansy Angel. Now I'm kind of thinking, if I haven't finished my pin with small, which I need to, I really want to finish it like by this weekend. I really want to start the flamingos, and I really want to do one towel and get another one started. So that might be enough, taking those 3 things and leaving Purple Pansy Angel at home, which I really do need to spend more time on Purple Pansy Angel, and the beach would be a great place to do that, but I may not. I'm kind of on the fence now. So, all right, so we have done curated cross-stitch collection. We have done plans for the pieces that I'm starting, and we've done the whips. And hopefully I can get that small finished and then give you a sneak peek at the end of this video. And then also intersperse some stuff that I hope to shoot when I'm at the beach. So, because even if it's gray and dreary, I mean, Cannon Beach is in Haystack Rock. Okay, a lot of you may have seen Haystack Rock, but you don't know what it is. So it's a large basalt monolith off the Oregon coast, and the hotel is like right in front of it. So like our hotel room has a view of Haystack Rock, although we also view the parking lot. We don't have like an ocean side room, but that's okay because it was slightly cheaper. So and my husband and I love beach. We go to the beach. That's where we choose to go if we go away. And so it's not like we are visiting for the first time. So anyway, all right, so I think that's it. And I'm gonna stop for now and then intersperse some video later. Thanks. Hi, this is Robin the Generous Stitcher, and I'm recording from the Acorns and Threads Beach Retreat. And it is, I'm going to insert some pictures of the hotel room. It's really nice here. And got a table right in the middle of all the retreat, and going to be announcing the raffle for the grapes piece tomorrow. There's also another specialty raffle that's going on where Acorns and Threads has some retired shop models that it is also having drawings for. Actually, it's going to be a fundraiser raffle for them. So anyway, having a good time. Went out to dinner with some new and old friends. And what was funny is, you know, at our table when I got here about 3:15 this afternoon, there was a piece of fabric, just some lamb's wool colored Joblin, 28 count. And I'm like, okay, where'd this come from? And then there was also a bunch of flosses, Classic Colorworks and Weeks Dye Works, and a few DMCs too. And, you know, the Joblin came from my friend Lisa, who didn't want to stitch it on it. And so she was saying, yeah, you know, if you don't want it, you know, give it to somebody who will like it. And I'm like, well, I think our friend Riley on the other side of me would like it, because they stitch on Even Weave and Ada. And so I've got something at home I might want to use it to stitch on, although I kind of decided to use a piece of Tabby Cat linen to do that piece. So maybe I'll give this to Riley. Haven't decided yet. And Lisa would be fine with that either way. You know, Riley's one of her friends too. So anyway, so all these lovely flosses, we're all kind of mystified. Well, we were not going to have a designer exclusive or piece or anything for this retreat, but Janine talked to another Janine McGowan of the Blue Flower, and so we all got a copy of this Shore S'mores piece, and these are the flosses, and shoot, I left the fabric, and we got finishing materials for it, and let me grab the fabric. So this is a piece of marbled khaki, which doesn't look, it's more green than khaki, but it definitely has some marbled modeling. And this is 36 count. So they cut us pieces to work on these Shore S'mores if we didn't have enough to stitch this weekend. And and then of course, as I was driving to the beach, I had to kind of drop past Acorns and Threads. So there was this Cotton Pixels. This is something that they ran out of on the first day of Nashville Days. And so I'd said, hey, can you get me this? And I do have the Halloween cat that they did at home. I haven't done them yet, but I really want to. And then I also got Rebel Stitcher Disagree, which is a piece that I had been thinking that I needed to get for a while. So, you know, since I stopped by the store, I figured I should shop. And Acorns and Threads was actually going to be open on Sunday, which is not one of their normal opening days for people from the retreat to go shopping. And so that's the first day. I have been working on this Smalls piece, and I was making some good progress on it, but then I realized that my counts were not adding up, and that may be okay because of the two different colors that I'm blending in that area. I might be able to just fudge it a bit and it'll look okay, or I'll have to frog it, which I don't like to do. But anyway, I want it is 9:16 and the ballroom was open until 9. Came up a little bit before 9, and I need to call home and talk to the spouse and check in with him because he's coming over tomorrow. So anyway, stitching all day tomorrow. We have brunch at 9, and I think that's when the ballroom opens. I've got my itinerary over there, but anyway, really low key. There was a free table. Didn't really see anything there I needed to take home. Just gonna have some good times with friends that I stitch with that I don't always get to spend more time with. So that's day one. And when I get this little small done, I will post a picture of it too. And this video, I'd done some video on Tuesday and then decided I would just make extra posts for the retreat itself. And I know I'm not the only Flosstuber in that room doing it, doing that. So I'll see you tomorrow, or at least the next video will be tomorrow. Thank you. Hi, this is Robin, the Generous Stitcher, and this is my finish that I got done over the weekend. We are now home, and where is that button? Well, I think so. It turns out there's a button I use to swap the camera, and that's not showing when the video is recording. So anyway, this is the pattern I just showed the finish of, December stitches. It's May, Feathered Friends May, and Feathered Friends is a collaboration with a lot of other designers. I've only heard of about 4 of them before this. So anyway, I would really like to stitch some of the other birds that they have. Maybe not all months. And there's a stand-up by Paisley and Polka Dots. That company makes this wooden birdhouse and like on a pedestal, well, on a tree, and then you can hang the month. You can stitch the month banner and hang that below. And so I haven't decided quite if I'm going to finish it as intended, maybe. So this is my Pinwheel Small for 2025, and I'm gonna, sorry, I'm holding this with my hand. I'm trying to like go like this so I'm not too close to the speakers, because it seemed like I was getting some feedback on the volume at one point. I've since not had that problem, so I'm not sure how I did it or what happened. And so, but anyway, I'm home. It was rather warm in the ballroom, so I basically, if I wore, you know, a sweatshirt, it was this light Oregon Duck one, because all the beachwear I brought was just, it was too warm. So anyway, great times. And I did want to show you a couple gifts that we got from Stitchers. There was a ton of raffling. The store raffled off. There's one thing. I'm digging. Nope, here it is. Okay. So the store raffled off a bunch of model stitches of patterns that are no longer in print. And there was one that Riley and I both liked, and we didn't get it. But I was like, okay, this needs to go on the unicorn list, and then one of us will get this pattern, and then we'll give it to each other to stitch, because it was like rules for people from cats, and you know, that's should tell you right there what it's, and it was just words, you know. So anyway, our table mate Mar gave us this laser etched acorn, and it came in 2 color varieties. This is the golden brown variety, and then there was one that was the wood and etching were like silver gray. So and then she had some felt oak leaves. Oops, I'm trying to do this one-handedly. Maybe I'll just need to set it down and hold it up. So 2 leaves, and then a wooden oak leaf. And then another person that I've stitched with Acorns and Threads made some pins, and she thoughtfully put a tip on all the pins, so when we were picking the pins out, we didn't stick ourselves. And this is I think this, she said she got some one-of-a-kind large beads from sort of a grab bag of things, so I got this one. I like red, but there were some really neat ones. And then Margaret, who runs the Acorns and Threads Facebook page, won the grapes piece, and I had placed a card in there for her, and that was the one that got picked. There were a number of people that went in for the drawing on that, and so. But I know that when I had said on our Zoom group, hey, who wants this? I know she raised her hand. So she was unable to make, she was under the weather this weekend, so she was unable to make the beach trip. So I was happy that she got something nice. So anyway, I think that's about it. It was a long long trip home. We ended up going south to Tillamook and going to one of the, I think Blue Heron Creamery is the company. So a lot of people know the Tillamook Creamery, the famous Tillamook cheese factory, where you can go and eat cheese and watch the cheese actually being made. And I certainly did that a bunch of times when I was a kid with my family. I think my husband probably did that 1 or 2 times with his family. And I know he and I went there, I think before, either when we were dating or after we got married. And then, so I'd never been to the Blue Heron Creamery, and they're called a French Creamery, and I think they do like brie. That's, I think, what they're known for. So I ended up getting some goat cheese for my mother-in-law, because Mother's Day is coming up, and she actually called me during the sorry for the jiggles. She called me during the last, like about 10:30 in the morning, as you know, I'm thinking about, okay, how much more stitching can I get done, and then I need to check out of my hotel. And she's calling me, and it's really loud. Everybody's talking. The raffles have all concluded. People are leaving and shouting goodbye to everybody. And so she's like, Robin, and I like picked up myself and ran out of the ballroom and said, I answered her and said, sorry, I'm at a cross-stitching retreat, and Mark's here at the hotel, and we got to check out in a few minutes. And because she was like, well, should I call Mark? And I'm like, no, he's got to check out. So anyway, but we did, I did tell her that her suggestion for Mother's Day was a great idea. So I think we'll call her later. And I showed the fabric for the Shore S'mores piece, and I forgot to mention the dyer is XJU Designs. I have never had any of their fabric, so this will be a new experience for me. I know that they're really popular. And there have been a couple times where I've had pieces that had that as a called for, or the stitch model was done on it, but I just try to take what's in my stash, because fabric's expensive and I've bought a lot of it, so it's good to do your own stash if you can. And I was explaining that to a friend of mine, because they were like, oh, I'm buying things, and I'm like, yeah, when I buy fabric, usually, okay, sometimes there's things that's like, oh, I have to have that color and that size. But other times it's like, hey, that color would go really well with this particular pattern at home. And I bring it, and that's how I shop. I know some cross stitchers don't shop like that, but I try to. So, okay, so I finished something and I started something, and here it is. So, it's hard to do this one-handedly, so I'm going to jiggle around here, because I need to unzip. So I started the Art at Design Fleming Ghouls, which was Nashville 2023, and I showed some of the flosses for that a lot of them that I was doing were limited, either new releases this year or limited edition flosses. There's like habanero is that orange one, variegated one. And so I started that, and the one thing I did not notice on this pattern until I started stitching it was that it has a border, and the border's really complicated. So the border, and I started, of course, down here in the bottom left, so it's, I don't think you can see in terms of the border, but the border is, kind of uniform with these checkers, like around the top, the sides and the top border, but the bottom border is not the same. And so of course that's where I started. And so I've got one orange. Well, actually, it's not really orange. It's dark autumn harvest gold, which is kind of an orangey gold. And so that's in the border. And I'm not going to use the specialty threads on the border because I've got the specialty threads. I have a limited amount of them, and so they're going to go for like the pumpkins and the umbrella and the hat on the flamingo, and I'm going to use the key lime for the green goblin or zombie hands, whatever those are, and probably use the called for DMC for the turquoise blue. Also, I have some limited edition, like a wine color that I was going to use for some of the purpley wine colors that are in the pattern itself. Now the border calls for the purpley wine color, and I'm going to use DMC for that one. So I think the pattern calls for the same wine color in the border as it does in these other motifs that are sort of a wine purple, but I'm only going to use the specialty threads in the center because I only have so much, and if I run out, I run out. And there was actually a person at the retreat who had a finish this weekend, and she was explaining when she showed her finish this morning that it was I think it looked like a Avelia folk embroidery small bit, which is her smaller kits. It looked like that. I don't know if that was really what it was, but I've got a similar kit at home. So, and she was like, fortunately, her friend across the table was using that exact floss, which she ran out of for that piece, and was able to share some floss so she could finish and with this same red for the piece. So, it's nice to have friends. And I met so many people. I met people I had only met on Zoom before. I met people from other parts of the country, and I met people who were really, close, in Oregon, and people who lived in areas close to where I grew up. And so, and maybe we'll have maybe at least 3 more people join the Sailing Mary Stitchers. So I got to talk to some people about that, and other people are going to contact them directly, I think. So anyway, that's it. And I'm sorry this is kind of jumpy, herky jerky, but I gotta get off here now and put this all together, and you can see how tired I look. So very fun weekend, and can't wait to do it again next year. All right, see you in 2 weeks. Hey, stop. Let's not be eating the linen, okay? Gotta get our stitches on there's the border. There's my good Max. Yes. All right. Oops. I know you love the cross stitch. Do not lick on the linen, please. Okay, good boy.